This is the video for the factoring worksheet. You will notice that some of the numbers are different, but the concept is the same. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is look at the coefficients and see what they have in common. So we have 16, negative 16, and 4. So we can pull a 4 out of that, and then we're going to look at our x's. We have 4 x's here, 2 x's here, and 2 x's here. So the highest number that all of them have is 2. And then we're going to look at the y's, 4, 4, and 3. So the highest y is 3. And then you're going to look at the z's. You have 1 here, 2 here, and 1 here. So we can pull out 1. All right, and then you go through and you divide. So here we'll do 16 divided by 4 is 4. X to the 4th divided by x squared is x squared. Or you can look at it as you had 4 x's, you took 2, how many are left? We had 4 y's, we took 3 of them, so there's 1 left. And we took the z, so we don't need to write anything for z. Then we say negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. X squared, so we took all of the x's. Y to the 4th, we only took 3 of the y's, so we have 1 left. And we only took 1 of the z's, so there's 1 z left. Then looking here, 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we don't have to write anything there. But it is plus. And then we took all of the x squareds, we took all of the y cubes, and we took all of the z's. So since we took everything, you still have to write a 1. Okay, so that is your final answer. All we're doing right here is factoring out the GC. Okay, so we have negative 12 x to the 6th z to the 6th y minus 9 x to the 6th z squared minus 12 x to the 6th z. So again, look at your coefficients. We've got negative 12, negative 9, and negative 12. So they have in common a negative 3, so I'm going to factor that out. And then looking at the x's, I've got 6 here, 6 here, and 6 here, so I'm going to take all 6. And then we've got 6 z's, 2 z's, or 1 z. So the highest number I can take is 1 z. And then you'll notice this term has a y, but neither of these do, so we can't take out a y. Now it's time to divide. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. And we took all of the x's. We took 1 of the z's, so we've got 5 z's left. And we have 1 y left. Okay, negative 9 divided by negative 3 is positive 3. We took all of the x's, and we took 1 of the z's, so we have 1 z left. And then negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. We took all of the x's and the z, so that's all we have to put there. So that's your final answer. Okay? So if I'm looking, there is nothing that all of the terms have in common. If you look, if you look here, we've got a coefficient of 5, an x, a y, and a z, but in this term we only have y's, and in this terms we only have x's. So there's nothing that all of the terms have in common. So let's see if we can group them. So I would group them. Let's group these two and then those two. So we'd have 5x, y to the 5th, z to the 4th, minus 4x, and I would group those together, minus y cubed 5yz, and I would group those together, and there would be a plus sign in between those. Okay, so I don't know if that's going to work, but let's try it. So we have an x in common, and that leaves 5y to the 5th, z to the 4th, minus 4. And then back here we have a y in common. So we'd factor out a negative y, leaving me y squared minus 5z. Okay, that's not going to work. So let's try something else. Let's group the 5 ones together. So if we have 5x y to the 5th, z to the 4th, minus 5yz, and I group those together, and then we have negative y cubed minus 4x, and I group those together. Okay, so here I would factor out a 5yz, leaving behind an x, y to the fourth, and z cubed minus 1. And then back here, if I factored out a negative 1, I would be left with y cubed plus 4x. It's not going to work either. Okay, so it looks like this is not factorable. So then we would say this is a prime polynomial. Okay, let's try this one. So we have 8, 14, 2, and 16. So we're going to factor a 2 out of that. And then let's keep our variables in order. We'll look at x next. Not all of them have an x, so I can't pull an x out. Let's look at the z's. So we've got 10 z's, 10 z's. Okay, so I can pull out 8 z's. And they don't all have y's, so that's the most I can pull out. So let's see. 8 divided by 2 is 4. I had 12 z's, I took 8 of them, so I've got z to the fourth left, and I've got x to the fourth left. Minus 7, because 14 divided by 2 is 7. And I have 2 z's remaining here, and an x and a y. And then minus z squared, because negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. I had 10, I took 2 z's. And then plus 8, 16 divided by 2 is 8. I took all of the z's, and then you just leave a y. Okay. So let's see what the largest number is that I can remove here. So I can definitely remove 5. 25 isn't going to work. All right, let's see if 5 is the highest I can go. And then I don't have an x in every term. I don't have a y in every term, so that's the best I can do. So 175 divided by 5 is 5 goes in 35 xy, plus 5 into 75 is 15 x squared, minus 5 into 140 is 10, 2, 28y, and then 5 into 60 is 12. Let me just check my math on that to make sure. Okay, so 175 divided by 5 is 35, 75 divided by 5 is 15, 140 divided by 5 is 28, and 60 divided by 5 is, yep, okay. So there isn't anything else that can be factored after that, so that is your final answer. All right. Okay, so it looks like 8 can come out of this, and that's it. So we're left with 2uv minus 10u minus v plus 5. That's all you can do with that one. All right, so now we're down to trinomials, so we might actually do some regular factoring, but first let's see if there's a GCF we can factor out. So all of them are divisible by 4, so I'll factor a 4 out. They all have at least one x, and they don't all have a y, so we're going to stop there. So I'm left with negative xy minus 42x squared plus y squared. Okay, that's all I can do on that one. Okay, so let's see, we've got 12, 21, 12, and 21. So the highest number that can come out of that is a 3. all terms have an x, but they don't all have a c or a d, so that's all I can bring out. So that leaves me 4xc minus 7, I already took the x, y d squared, plus 4x d squared, because I took 1x, minus 7yc. That's as far as you can go on that one. All right, the first thing we're going to do here is factor out a 3, which is going to leave me 16v squared minus 1. And then that's actually difference of squares because you have a perfect square here and a perfect square here. So we'll do 3, and it will be 4v plus 1 times 4v minus 1. Remember, you take the square root of this. Square root of 16 is 4, square root of v squared is v, and the square root of 1 is 1. And you do plus and minus. So that's your final answer. Okay. Let's see if these terms have anything in common. They do not. So we're actually going to do regular factoring here. Okay. So the first thing you do is you want to multiply your first and your last term. So that's 9 times 16, which is 144. And then you want to find your factors of 144 that could give you 24. So we've got 1 and 144, 2 and 72, 3 and 48, 4 and 36, 5 isn't going to go, 6 and 24, 8 and 18, 9 and 16, 12 and 12. Okay, so the only ones that could give us 24 are 12 and 12. So we build our houses. Each house gets a 9x. Always keep your first sign. If your first sign is negative, change your second sign. So it was positive, I'm going to change it to negative. And then your larger number goes first, but in this case it doesn't matter because they're both 12. Both of these houses have a 3 in common, so you have to divide it out, which is going to leave you 3x minus 4 times 3x minus 4, which we would write 3x minus 4 squared as your final answer. And always check to make sure you're right. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 4 is negative 12x. Minus 12x is negative 24x. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. So you know you're good. Okay, so let's see if these three numbers have anything in common. Looks like they have a 2 in common. And maybe a 3. Yep, they have a 3 in common. Let's see if 6. Yep, I think 6 is as high as it's going to go. Okay, so you can factor out a 6, which is going to leave me 3x squared plus 17x plus 24. Okay, now we're going to factor what's inside, because I don't think that you guys want to multiply 18 and 144 and then find their factors. So we're going to do 3 times 24. Okay, so I'm going to find the factors of 72, and I'm going to try to find ones that will give me 17. So 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3 and 24, 4 and 18, 5 isn't going to go, 6 and 12, 7 doesn't go, 8 and 9, and that's going to be it. So the only ones that can give you 17 are 8 and 9. So you're still going to leave your 6 out front, and now you're going to build your houses. Each house gets a 3x. Always keep your first sign. If your first sign is positive, you keep your second sign, and your larger number always goes first. Now this house has a 3 in common, so it's going to become x plus 3 times 3x plus 8, and then always check to make sure you're correct. So this is 3x squared plus 8x plus 9x, which is 17x, plus 24, good, and if I distributed the 6, I would be good. So this is my final answer. Okay, so there is nothing in common between 5, -2, and 3, so I'm just going to go straight to factoring. I'm going to multiply 5 times 3 to get 15. Factors of 15 are 1 and 15, and 3 and 5. The only ones that can give me 2 are 3 and 5. So I'm going to build my houses. Each house gets a 5A. Always keep your first sign. If your first sign is negative, you change your second sign. So it was negative, we change it to positive. And your large number always goes first. This house has a 5 in common, so we divide it out, leaving a minus 1 times 5a plus 3. Verify that you're correct. A times 5a is 5a squared, plus 3a minus 5a gives me negative 2a, and negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. So you are correct, and that is your solution. Okay, 7, 39, and 18 don't have anything in common. So we're going to go ahead and multiply 7 times 18. Which is 126. And we're going to list our factors of 126. So 1 and 126. 2 and 63. And we're looking for 39. 3 and 42. Well, 3 and 42 can give me 39. So, but let's see what else there is. 4 doesn't go. 5 doesn't go. 6 and 21. 7 and 18. 8 doesn't go. 9 and 14. 10 doesn't go. 11 doesn't go. 12 doesn't go. 13 doesn't go. And we already have 14 right here, so we know that we have all of them. So the only ones that can give me 39 are 42 and 3. So I'm going to build my houses. Get 7x here and here. Keep your first sign. If your first sign is negative, you change your second sign. And the larger number always goes first. This house has a 7 in common, so we're going to divide it out, leaving me x minus 6 times 7x plus 3. Now let's verify to see if this is correct. 7x squared plus 3x minus 42x is negative 39x, and then negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. So it does work. So that is your factor. Okay? 5, 28, and 49 don't have anything in common. So we're going to multiply 5 times 49, which is going to give us 245. We're going to find the factors of 245 that give us 28. So 1 and 245. 2 doesn't go because it's not even. 3 doesn't go. 4 doesn't go. I know 5 goes. So 5 and 49. 6 doesn't go. 7 and 35, which would give me 28 right there. But let's make sure there aren't any more. 8 doesn't go. 9 doesn't go. 10 doesn't go. 11 doesn't go. 12 doesn't go. 13 doesn't go. Let's try 15. 15 doesn't go. Okay, so it looks like 7 and 35 are going to be it. So build your houses. Each house gets a 5m. If your first sign is negative, you change your second sign. And the larger number always goes first. This house has a 5 in common, so you're going to divide it out, leaving you m minus 7 and 5m plus 7. And we're going to verify to make sure we're correct. M times 5m is 5m squared. M times 7 is plus 7m minus 35m is going to give me negative 28m. And negative 7 times 7 is negative 49. So that is correct. All right. So we've got 24 and 90. Okay, they're both divisible by 6. So we're going to factor out a 6, leaving me 4n squared plus 4n minus 15. Okay, So now we're going to multiply our 4 and our 15 to get 60, and then we're going to list our factors of 60 to try to get 4. So I've got 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. 6 and 10 can give us 4. 7 doesn't go. 8 doesn't go. 9 doesn't go. And we already have 10 here, so we know we've got them all. So 6 and 10 are what's going to give me 4, so keep your 6 out front, and then build your houses. Need a 4N here and a 4N here. And then always keep your first sign. If your first sign is positive, you keep your second sign. Larger number goes first. Both of these are divisible by 2. So this becomes 2n plus 5, and this becomes 2n minus 3. So let's verify. 4n squared minus 6n plus 10n gives me 4n minus 15, and then distribute the 6. So this is correct.